with Random Whisper number 36. I am very sorry for the strange aspect in the former upload. I have no idea why that happened. I was holding the iPhone the same way I am right now, and I see it landscape, so I don't know what happened. You can tell since it's skinny and sideways, both problems, that I was looking at landscape. So I guess when I started out, maybe I was holding it more upright. I don't know. But hopefully this will work. I'm holding it very, very, very properly to start with. Hoping that when I go down like this, it will be okay. Also, sorry for being interrupted. I got a phone call right at 10 minutes, so I figured it was long enough to post and not start over. So, picking up where I left off, your quests for the Dog Guard and vampires will take you to several new locations, and one of them is the Realm of Oblivion. The plain players travel to multiple times in the Elder Scrolls 4. Unlike the fiery fields of that game, Dawnguard's Piece of Oblivion has a ghostly, ethereal visual style. Dubbed the Soul Cairn, this haunting realm of trapped souls offers a change of scenery from the stark Nordic surroundings of Skyrim. Not that Nordic is a bad thing. Anyway, the new archery. Instead of relying on a bow for your ranged combat, Dawnguard adds crossbows to your arsenal. The crossbows have a different feel from bows, says Garifano. They will remain loaded while running through the world and provide a quicker shot. They are, however, slower to reload. Another benefit is that each shot has a chance to stagger your opponent. All of the perks you spent in archery still apply to crossbows. Yay, and there was much rejoicing. So your skills with the bow will easily transfer to the new weapon. The Ratway makeover. The ability to change your character's face was something that came up often in fan feedback, says Garifano. In response to those requests, Dawnguard adds a character hidden down in the Ratway of Riften who can alter your appearance. Race and gender are still blah, 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 blah. Dawnguard adds a character hidden down in the Ratway of Riften who can alter your appearance. Period. Race and gender are still locked, but you can tweak your other facial features in case your hero doesn't look as awesome as you initially thought. Mounted combat. Are you sick of feeling helpless on your horse? Mounted combat is coming with Dawnguard, allowing players to use their weapons while on horseback. Not only is this a more convenient way to deal with enemies on the road, but it will also give you a chance to try out a newly crafted set of Dragonbone weapons, another addition in Dawnguard. Unfortunately, your attack options while mounted are limited to weapons. If you want to cast spells, you still need to dismount. Duh. Where to start? A new base and an array of powers may sound tempting, but new players shouldn't try to tackle Dawnguard as soon as they escape captivity. The DLC isn't meant for low-level players. Dawnguard is designed to work with any characters who are past level 10, says Garifano. Go on some adventures first, learn about shouting, get some perks in your preferred style of combat before undertaking the quest. When you're ready, listen for rumors about the group of vampire hunters who are recruiting, and ask Dawnguard to steer you in the direction of the Dawnguard. Keep shouting. New shouts are also part of the Dawnguard package, letting you continue to expand your mastery of the Draconic language. Soul Tear is one of the new shouts players can learn. doesn't specify how the new shouts are integrated into the campaign. They are likely tied to Dawnguard's unique locations rather than new word walls popping up across Skyrim. Giving Xbox an edge. Dawnguard is coming to Xbox 360, PS3, and PC, but only Xbox 360 owners get to play it this summer. Yeah. The DLC is a timed exclusive, meaning that the PC and PS3 versions will be released after an undisclosed amount of time has passed. Bethesda took a similar approach with Fallout 3. In that case, the DLC packs didn't arrive on PS3 until several months after their original releases on Xbox 360 and PC. This approach for Skyrim's DLC was announced well before the game released last fall, but considering all of the PS3 style technical problems in the base game, playing Skyrim on Sony's console is a losing proposition. At least PC players have the creation kit and mods to keep them busy. Oh, that's it. But now there's a Tomb Raider article. The last time we saw the new, younger Lara Croft, she was sequestered in a dim underground cave, fighting for her life against a crazed, ritualistic madman. Her ship had crashed on a mysterious island, and she had no idea what awaited her as she emerged onto a picturesque coastline, scattered with the hulks and wrecked ships and shattered planes. After her initial appearance in our cover story over a year and a half ago, Lara Croft has largely disappeared from the spotlight, with barely a glimpse of what lies later in her new adventure. Fans have been left to wonder what comes next. Meanwhile, the developers at Crystal Dynamics have remained hard at work crafting a new vision for gaming's most familiar heroine. At long last, we've seen what happens next, as an injured and inexperienced Lara Croft sets out across a terrifying wilderness. First steps. The early hours of Tomb Raider depict Lara's transition from the scared girl whose ship has run aground to the cunning survivalist and fighter we'll see later in the game. Crystal Dynamics also uses these early story-driven sections of the game as an opportunity to teach the players about the game's many interacting systems and styles of play. After her harrowing encounters in the underground den, Lara sets off along a cliffside path. To her right, the land drops away into a wave-tossed sea. Everywhere around her lies the detritus of former crashes. She's bleeding, one arm held tight to her torso, where she's been hurt. The path ahead is washed out, and Lara must walk across the fallen tree that bridges the gap. It's no new feat in video games, but what sets the moment apart is the careful attention to the emotional terror of the protagonist. As she moves, Lara is constantly whispering to herself, urging herself forward, or emitting a shout of panic as her foot slips. Camera angles shift to show the nausea-inducing drop awaiting her if she falls. We want to show her injured, afraid, alone, going through these moments that any human being can relate to in a very personal way, explains Carl Stewart, global brand director for Crystal Dynamics. By having her do things like walking across the log and thinking, "Don't look down," you can relate to that. The more emotionally attached we can get you to the character early on, the better we believe the experience is of going through the character arc. Past the gap, Lara finds another obstacle. A rusting World War II-era bomber hangs precariously from the mountainside, and there's no choice but to climb across. Lara leaps to a hanging strut of the plane and begins to scramble across. It's a glimpse of some classic traversal elements, but Stewart says not to expect much more of the old linear platforming. We've moved away from having the entire game be that binary ledge system exploration. We're having to go from point to point, Stewart tells us. We're now giving the player the opportunity to go into a space and choose their own path. Where we take you across the ledge of the B-52 bomber, that's a tutorial. Once you move away from the plane, everything is basically open. Dynamic traversal where the player has the freedom to roam around and jump from location to location with ease, including things like air steering, directional control, speeding her up and speeding her down, depending on the distance of the jump. Not far past the plane, Lara finds reason for hope. Her friend Sam's backpack, along with some helpful supplies. Though the woman who owns the backpack is missing, Lara pulls a two-way radio from the back and straps it to her belt. She also grabs a mysterious video camera. It's the last we'll see of the item during the game demo, but likely hints at some unannounced game features. There's also a matchbox, but only a single stick remains inside. Heading off in what she hopes is pursuit of her friend Sam. Lara leaps to a nearby ledge. It breaks loose and she goes tumbling down into a chasm below. Wow. On the hunt. Thoroughly beaten down, shivering in the cold rain as night falls, Lara is at the end of her rope. She sees a rock overhang near where she's fallen, and a forgotten campsite fire pit in the relative shelter of the outcrop. With her precious single match, she lights some brush and settles in for rest. After warming up, Lara heads down a path into an open, forested glen. A dead body hangs upside down from a nearby tree. Climbing its branches, Lara can barely reach what drew her interest, a bow hanging from the limp form. She tumbles from the tree as she makes a grab, but comes away with her prize. Along with some nearby arrows, Lara sets out to explore. It's here that the game begins to open up, offering the first glimpse of the exploration and freedom later sections of the game will provide. There's a linearity to the story. You have to go from point A to point B, but there's junctures in between where we want the player to feel like they're true explorers. We bring you these non-linear hub spaces that you can come back into again and again at different times of the day. Stewart said. The enclosed forest has numerous hills and boulders, scattered corpses of trees, and hidden rocks and crannies. Rabbits and deer bound through this area. Each is an independent AI that spawns randomly on the map. We want the island to feel like it's a living, breathing place, Stewart declares. If players go into the forest to hunt, it doesn't feel as alive as if you stand in the same place and the deer comes out by on the same path over and over again. It feels alive when you come around the corner and there's a deer standing there that wasn't there the last time. Lara sights down a buck and lets an arrow loose as the deer dies. Lara's XP clicks up a few points. Hunting for food is just one way players can gain experience in the game world. Lara sets to work carving some meat from the deer with an arrowhead. Her facial expression speaks to her discomfort surrounding the necessary butcher work. Back in camp with food to sustain her, Lara's radio crackles to life. Her friend and mentor, Conrad Roth, is alive, and he gives her direction to meet up. Lara heads out and finds as Laura heads into the interior and climbs down into a ramshackle underground bunker. It's the first time we notice that we've barely seen any load screens. Crystal Dynamics has done a remarkable job of streaming content and behind the scenes, creating a seamless flow between emotional cinematic sequences and dense action moments. We try not to have loading in the game at all. We bring you back to base camps to do things such as use your XP and heal yourself. During those times, it will be loading in the next part of the game. Stuart's sign says, Stuart says we smartly place our loads in the back side of the system, so the player won't fully see or feel them. By the time Laura climbs back to the surface on the far side of the passage, she's picked up a makeshift pickaxe that had been sitting by an aging gramophone, producing the strange music. Like the bow, the pickaxe is another of many tools and weapons you can upgrade over the course of the game. See sidebar. It acts as a last-ditch melee option because it's also used to pry open books or doors or electric secrets. Blah blah. Sorry, getting sleepy. I just started making up some words.